It's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now, I've been watching the ACT inquiry into police corruption regarding the Bruce Lehrmann, Brittany Higgins alleged rape. And today, Superintendent Scott Moller gave evidence. And it turns out several officers and probably half the team who investigated the issue, the alleged rape, went on stress leave and are still on stress leave. So that raises a lot of questions, that it by itself. Firstly, the team who are investigating alleged rape are from the sex crime unit in the ACT. So they're used to investigating some fairly putrid crimes, priests raping children, etc. In this matter, which all rape's obviously bad, but it's not to the degree of some priests raping 5 or 10 children, and they've gone on stress leave. That raises a question. I have no doubt that political interference could be the only thing, because these people are in the sex crimes unit and they're used to dealing with these sick crimes all the time. So why is this particular crime so special that a whole heap of them went on stress leave? And at one point he had to second another police officer from outside the team because he had no one else, Scott Moller told the inquiry today. I'm just going to read you some notes and then we'll watch the video of Scott Moller giving that evidence today, because that's probably the most powerful thing to come out of today's hearing. And I'll just read my notes. Now, Scott Moller said several police who investigated the Bruce Lehrmann alleged rape went on stress leave and have not returned during the Lehrmann-Higgins investigation. Staff affected a lot of police, he said. A number of police who work for Scott Moller directly have been unable to return to work because of the stresses of the investigation. At one point, on the 5th of August 2021, he seconded or brought in another police officer, Detective Sergeant Rose, to manage the summons and servings process on the 5th of August, the day before the summons and serving process took place, because he hadn't been involved in the matter before. So he was called in because a number of members had gone off sick and didn't have anyone else because they'd gone off sick. So that is absolutely amazing. Now let's listen to what Scott Moller told the inquiry today.
You'd just given evidence about the conversation you had with Commander Chu on 5 August 2021,
yes,
which was the second in time about the adjudication process and it not being done.
That's right.
He then gave you a direction to get it done.
Yes.
And you passed that direction on to Detective Sergeant Robert Rose.
Yes, that's right.
Why was he chosen as the person to get the summons and brief served?
It was during this investigation, the stress of the investigation affected a lot of police. A number of police that worked for me have been unable to return to work as a result of the stresses in this investigation. And at the time, Detective Sergeant Rose was one person who hadn't been involved in it before. And because of a number of members going off sick, I brought him in to manage that process for us, at that stage, because we didn't have anyone else, because they'd been sick.
Thank you.
Now, as I said before you watch that video, this is a sex crimes unit. For a whole heap of them to go on stress leave, and several of them still on stress leave now, it's not the sort of sex crime, the alleged rape of Brittany Higgins, that had forced seasoned, hardened police officers who have dealt with a lot of sex crimes to go on stress leave. So what was it causing them stress? My guess is political intervention, pressure from above to sweep the matter under the carpet. That was probably the stress. Now, Scott Moller's evidence today didn't pass a pub test, didn't even come close. It was very disturbing, to say the least, but he's back in the witness stand tomorrow. He's going to get cross-examined. And as I said on Twitter, I think it's going to heat up very fast, because the barrister representing Shane Drumgold is going to cross-examine him tomorrow. Now, the other big story from today's hearing was at the beginning. It started late because Walter Sochranoff, the chairperson of the inquiry, he had another issue to deal with. Now, it turns out over the weekend, the Australian were trying to harass and intimidate Shane Drumgold. And by doing that, they're obviously trying to intimidate a lot of witnesses. And Walter Sochranoff has actually written to the editor of the Australian demanding answers. So I'll show you an edited version of what Walter Sochranoff said today. But if you want the full version, you can go to my YouTube channel because I publish the full amount. But Walter Sochranoff does keep an open mind. He said that the Australian might have some justification, but in this section you're going to see I can't see any justification. They could end up on contempt charges, and they should do, because on May the 11th I published an article titled "Samantha Maiden Uses Frivolous Rumour to Shame Brittany Higgins on the Orders of Rupert Murdoch to Protect the Liberal Party." And Walter Sochranoff, the chairperson, gave him a touch up then, the media, for, publishing lies about Brittany Higgins. So let's listen to what Walter Sochranoff told the hearing yesterday.
On the 19th of May, the Australian newspaper published a photograph of Mr. Drumgold. He was at home in relaxed clothing, in apparent privacy, having a beer, and someone took a photograph of him without his knowledge and then published the photo with an ironic caption, Crown Lager or Drumgold Bitter. Prosecutor calls beer o'clock. I'm stumped at trying to think of a proper purpose for doing this. Hiding to take a photo of a man who thinks he's enjoying privacy and then publishing the photo with a put down. But my real worry is that the witnesses who've been willing to help me will think that this is part of the price. Being stalked to their home, photo taken unawares, off guard, being made fun of in the national media. If that's the personal cost, why would anybody willingly be a part of this? This kind of publication risks interfering with the course of my inquiry. It risks interfering with my ability to fulfill my statutory duty. With these thoughts in mind, I've written to the editor of The Australian today, seeking her help to understand the purpose for which the photo was used, and I'll consider my course when I get a response.
It's the second time News Corp have been busted trying to intimidate witnesses, and they didn't learn the first time back on May 11th when they were warned. Samantha Maiden and dribble, and so did a few other media, but the other media sort of fallen into line and stopped intimidating witnesses, or they were trying to intimidate Brittany Higgins. But the Australian, Rupert Murdoch, he doesn't care. He thinks he's above the law, as we've seen many, many times. Now, the reason I've got Bruce Lehrmann and his barrister behind me, Stephen Whybrow, because Stephen Whybrow was part of the article in the Australian on the weekend. Stephen Whybrow, he's getting too smart by half, so to speak, and he could end up in a lot of trouble. He could end up on contempt charges or breaching the barrister's rules, and then he might end up getting struck off. Anyhow, I'll keep on following up. Make sure you visit my YouTube channel and my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia. You're going to see a lot of information there you haven't seen anywhere else. You wouldn't have seen the story of it today and anywhere in the media about the Australian being warned and Walter Sochranoff writing to the editor of the Australian. And you wouldn't have seen the story I've just published to you in relation to the several police officers going on stress leave and still being on stress leave. That is something that needs to be fully investigated and openly in public why they're on stress leave. And the reason why I won't see them anywhere else is because I'm independent media and I'm reliant on donations to keep on publishing. Kangaroo Court of Australia publishes a YouTube channel, website, Facebook page and Twitter account. So please support my Patreon account. You can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever suits your budget. It all helps out. And I'm currently sitting on 234 Patreon supporters donating $1,362 a month. I need to at least double that to really get financially stable. So if you could support that, it'd be greatly appreciated. And please share this video on Facebook and Twitter, etc. Thank you for your time and have a good day.